Welcome to our video, How to Use Harris LPG Gas Equipment. Today we're going to show you how to use LPG as an alternative fuel gas to acetylene.
And to start off with today, you need an LPG cylinder and an Oxy cylinder and a Harris LPG kit.
These kits allow you to cut, braze and silver solder, and by adding special attachments, you can also gouge and heat steel. Here's what's inside a Harris Professional LPG kit. An LPG regulator, oxygen regulator, handle, flash guards, cutting attachment, mixer for brazing silver soldering tube and tip, LPG cutting tip. Now we'll run through the gas equipment in the kit, telling you a bit about each item.
The Harris Model 825 regulator with the unique built-in snap-safe stem is the safest regulator on the market. And why? Well, we have a shear break-off point built into the regulator. So if the cylinder were to fall over and get a severe knock, the shear break-off valve is going to come up and stop the flow of gas. Very important with LPG, because LPG being heavy in the air is going to lie on the ground. Also important with the oxygen regulator, because if it were to break, the cylinder would take off like a torpedo. And we'll just show you how it works. We've got a regulator here, where a stem where one is broken. The stem breaks off, the gas is trapped in the cylinder, no gas escapes. That makes the Harris Model 825 regulator with the snap-safe the safest regulator on the market, without a doubt. We've got a large diaphragm, and it's this large diaphragm that gives you that precise pressure and flow control to give you the flame characteristics you're after. We've got large, easy to read gauges. We have a burst relief built into the regulator in case of a catastrophic event. And at the factory, every regulator is tested. That's why Harris are the best regulators in the world. Now, let's look at the handle. Firstly, it comes with flash guards as standard. No other handle comes with flash guards. It has a stainless steel ball valve inside, which gives you that accurate and precise adjustment and large flow. We have no solder joints. It's easy to pull apart. We have a tube within a tube designed to give you that large flow. We have a stainless steel connector for toughness and long life. And importantly, where you've got your hand, we have a tapered O-ring sealing system, and that's very, very safe. This is the Harris cutting attachment. Let's run through some of the benefits of this cutting attachment. Firstly, we have a solid brass body, solid brass head. We have a cutting lever that folds out of the road when you're using that cutting tip in a heating application. We have an ease-on feature built into our cutting valve, and that protects the operator in the event of piercing or cutting thick steel and sparks and getting covered in those sparks. We have stainless steel tubes, and they give you extra strength and the safety that's needed today. We have a mixer that's been purposely designed for the particular gas you're using. We have a safety plug in the end of the torch that protects the operator in case of a severe flashback. The Harris cutting attachment is designed to take flat seating tips, and these give you long life, plus a few other added benefits. The fact that you can resurface a tip with some wet and dry sandpaper, not like the old tapered seating tips where you drop them and they mark them, they put them in the torch and they pop and bang. These you can resurface yourself with some wet and dry sandpaper. Some of the other benefits with the Harris tip are it gives you a tight star pattern, and that extra precise flame makes LPG a real alternative today. Finally, we have the brazing silver soldering attachment. Starts with the mixer, the tip tube and the brazing silver soldering tip. Now, before we get on to the demonstrations, let me show you how the Harris gas system works. It's different to other gas equipment on the market. The oxygen passing through the torch sucks the fuel gas, and we can see that in this demonstration. That means the fuel gas line only needs 1.5 kPa fuel gas. That makes it the safest torch in the market, and it uses every possible bit of gas out of the cylinder, and that saves you money. Now we're going to show you the Oxy LPG cutting. Remember, the flame is totally different from acetylene. Remember, with the Harris system, it sucks the fuel gas. Those will remember the high pressure systems where the LPG is hard to light on a windy day because it gets blown out. With the Harris system, sucks the fuel gas. So you turn your fuel gas valve on, turn your Oxy on, just wait a second for purging, then light your torch. Then you make your adjustments after that. This makes the torch, the flame and the torch stick together. You don't lose your flame. Now let's run through that again. We turn the fuel gas valve on, we turn the Oxy valve on, then we light the torch. Then we make our adjustments.
Here we see we've got a nice cutting jet. We've got a neutral flame. We've got a carbonising flame where we have excess fuel gas. And this is an oxidising flame. Now we've got a longer flame than acetylene, yet it's neutral. Hear the slight whistling effect? This is the clue to a good neutral flame. Not oxidising and not carbonising. We've got a nice cutting jet. Before cutting, make sure you have yourself comfortable and protected with the appropriate safety gear.
Come in a little bit. Go to the edge of the metal.
You can get the tip very close to the job and there's no popping, banging or flashback. You can also get it very high.
Notice you can go in close and up high.
One of the other advantages of the low pressure system is that it's very safe and very forgiving for the operator. Look how easy it is to clean up. No grinding required. So here we'll do another cut. Bring in the cutting jet and then start to cut. It all gets back to the flame shape. It's a little like a drill bit. If you have a good sharp drill bit, it drills a hole quicker. It's easier on the drill. You don't have to work as hard pushing it. The same applies to the flame. If you've got a good flame with a good star pattern, you'll get the performance out of the cutting system by making it much easier for you to use. That's how easy it is to oxy-cut with Oxy LPG.
Now we're going to show you Oxy LPG gouging with a Harris gouging tip. First thing we must do is turn the oxy pressure up, and it's actually operating pressure. So as you turn it up, turn your cutting oxygen on so you know it's actually operating pressure. The next step is to take the cutting tip out and change it to a gouging tip. And it's a simple exercise for the Harris tip. All you need is a shifter, the gouging tip. Remember, we don't have a tapered seating tip, so you'll find that the exercise is a lot easier. You don't have that problem with it over tightening in the tip. Make sure you're comfortable. Put the gouging tip into the position you want to gouge so that you're all nice and comfortable. Move the tip round. Yep, that feels good. Tighten the tip up. You don't have to go overboard holding the gouging tip in the other hand. The lighting procedure is the same as the cutting procedure. Turn your fuel gas pressure on. Again, we want that neutral flame. Not carbonising, not oxidising. We want that neutral flame. So turn the fuel gas valve on, turn your preheat oxy valve on, and it'll suck the fuel gas. Light your torch, then make your adjustment. Carbonising flame. Bringing it in, that's a neutral flame. If we kept going like that, we'd have an oxidising flame. We want a neutral flame. That's the flame we want.
We heat up the edge of the metal, and you'll see how easy it is to remove the metal. Say, for example, that the job had a crack in it, and we wanted to do a nice weld preparation. You can imagine how long it would take you to grind that out. Oxypropane gouging cleans up very easily. Any oxide that's in that gouge will come out when it cools down. This time, I'll do the gouge again. And I want to show you that by using the cutting lever, we can gouge much smaller sizes or have much more control over the depth of the gouge.
Now we've shown you Oxy LPG cutting, we've shown you Oxy LPG gouging. Now we're going to move on to the heating application. This is one of the few times you need to turn your fuel gas pressure up, and we're going to turn our pressure up to around 120 kPa. We come back to the equipment we're using here, standard Harris handle that comes in the kit, an F43 mixer, the stainless steel tip tube, and the idea of this tip tube being in stainless steel, it doesn't have thermal conductivity, so it doesn't heat up the O-rings, and that's a safety issue because that's where you got your hand. And the Harris 3H heating tip. And the heating tips with the Harris are not pieces of copper with a drill whack through them. They are engineered and designed to give you a precise flame shape and make the lazy gas, which LPG is, but really perform and punch the heat into the metal.
Firstly, turn on the valve and bring in some LPG. Then bring in the Oxy. Now during that demonstration, you could see how quick the heat gets into the job. Very, very quick. Notice also, we were able to control it. You'll see how tight the spot is that the Harris torch heats up. If you want a bigger area, obviously you move the torch.
You can also see now, when we finish the job, the stainless steel tip tube hasn't got hot. It still remained cool. I can put my hand there, even with the glove on, you'd feel heat, and there's no heat coming through. There is another option. You can put a smaller heating tip into your standard cutting attachment. But remember, your hand is close to where the heat is. Finally, we're going to show you Oxy LPG silver soldering and Oxy LPG brazing. I would, however, like to point out though, you cannot weld two bits of mild steel together. You can't fusion weld mild steel. You need to set your pressures at 200 kPa Oxy, and once again move your fuel gas pressure down to that low 1.5 kPa. The lighting principle is the same. Turn them on, give it that purge, and then light and make your adjustments. All the time you want to get that neutral flame. Now you'll notice the flame is a lot longer than the oxyacetylene flame. That's one of the characteristics of Oxy LPG.
Where gas welding causes distortion, people usually braze, and this is where the Oxy LPG comes into its own. It really is very good in that area.
We've shown you Oxy LPG cutting, we've shown you Oxy LPG gouging, we've shown you the Oxy LPG heating system and how safe that was, we've shown you silver brazing and silver soldering, and we've shown you how easy it is to use the Harris system. That low pressure system, we believe, really makes the use of this LPG gas a real alternative. And we believe if you follow the instructions and stick with the pressures, we believe it'll become a very useful tool. By the way, all the extras you saw today are available from your authorised Harris distributor, and then we'll catch up with you on the next tape, which will be our oxyacetylene one. Thanks a lot. Bye for now. Yibbity yibbity.